I'll bring it back.
Yeah, the intent here is to give you an overview of the world in servant leadership, the U.S., and locally. And locally means Wisconsin. This originally started with a Wisconsin effort to provide an example in the world how in a state or a region you can be running that. There are 9 city organizations. They're all informal. You met some of the people in the greater Milwaukee area. For instance, Gene and Kim are servant leader chairs in the roundtables. There's 11 of those each month. At the institution level, sometimes they take 2 months off in the summertime, but other than that, it's all year long. And here's a list of them. There is servant leadership going on in companies and beyond that in institutions. We have 200 plus videos. And Sean made many of them that synthesizes all of the things that you just heard here. You will see once this is approved by the presenters, it then goes on the website. And some of it is in little vignettes, others is, and you can use it for teaching. You can just, some people say you start looking at these and you just can't stop, and it gets into the late evening. We had an International Servant Leader Summit here in 2021, I think it was. And from that, we had a boot-up meeting from all the people in Wisconsin that were there. We're given about 30 of them were given an opportunity that showed some real hard interest. And that group developed a situation analysis, each individually with a lot of information we gave them about what's going on in our state. Everything we do has feedback, so that's synthesized. And from that, in about 4 hours, we put together this plan, believe it or not. It was a lot of preparation, a lot of input, and synthesizing. And from that, everybody signed up for portions of this. The 1 year is substantially done or been cast aside. The 1 to 3 years, some of those have been done, some of them aren't working. And the 3 to 5 years that's what we're working on right now. And we're doing it mainly through word of mouth and social media. So here are the sites. They're all in your handout. Here's lacrosse. They almost have a little bit of an ad of sort. It's everything they do in servant leadership. And there is a heavy content there in servant leadership. Fond du Lac. So the state of the world in servant leadership. In 0.5 seconds, servant leader gets 117 million articles, books, and discussions. Serve by leading, or lead by serving, gets 723 million hits in 0.29 seconds. Applied ethics gets 242 million articles and hit. We kind of keep track of this every 6 months. Everything is growing. The world is interested in this. In fact, the world would say, this is what we need. This is what we need. Here are all the websites. Greenleaf, the U.S. is on top of that list. They send out a morning message. It's just a one-liner from Greenleaf, usually. Really good just to look at and focus. There's going to be a meeting. The Greenleaf Center has what they call Greenleaf Scholars. These scholars are pre- and post-PhD students. And they write a paper. It's vetted by, I think there's somebody in England, maybe in Australia, and the other vetters are in the United States. And 4 to 6 are selected. They produce a paper each year, another group. There's 40 of them. These 40, plus some other people that you're looking at right here, Jim Lemoyne, Leiden, are some of the gurus in research. And there's enough research out there that they're doing research on their research. But 2024, 10/25 through 10/27, that's a weekend, there will be a meeting of these folks, and people from Wisconsin are invited that would fall into that category to get together to exchange information. This has not been done before. So we're bringing, this is the college world. And there's a history of this. There's a paper on our Wisconsin website that delineates this. I'll abbreviate it. 1970, somebody wrote a paper and said, or wrote an article or a pamphlet and said, Washington, you guys are in trouble, and suggested that they start getting more values into what they're doing. And they implied the kinds of things made us servant leadership. Later than that time, Greenleaf came out with a book, and Greenleaf was a fellow that graduated from a Midwest college, and when he graduated, he said, what should I do? They said, go to work for the largest company in the world and see what you can do about changing their culture, and that they're more than just about making money. So he went to work for AT&T at the time, started digging holes. He ended up being the director of research for organizational behavior and motivation of people. And there were 400 PhDs. That's all they did was think and write about that. He retired early, went home, and spent the rest of his life writing material about servant leadership. And the first one was The Servant Leader. And that would be, and now it's a book, but there's also a condensed version. Those are all available on the Amazon, has all that stuff. There's lots and lots of it. There's a publisher in Wisconsin, up in La Crosse, who is publishing books by people in Wisconsin that are writing about this. And you can find that on that website as well. So these folks are coming together to exchange information. That 1970 thing came up with somebody in 1980 that said, I think this is the solution. And then a lady came along about 10 years. No, then came a fellow that wrote a book just for universities. And he said, leadership is nothing about morals and character. It's all about charisma. And that stayed in the institutions of our society to some degree, but that's what they used for 35 years. And then this fellow Lemoyne and about 4 of his contemporaries produced a paper, it's also available on our website, compared all the different types of leadership, and clearly it was about community, lifting up, bringing the heart and the head together, awakening the heart. These are my interpretations of it. And it is true. Many people already have this natural inclination. It's a matter of waking it up, associating and networking it. It's like growing oak trees. You don't go out and do it today and tomorrow. It grows, and it's rich and meaningful. And I will tell you that in my life, I'm 87, I think, that it is rich, rich, rich stuff. And you look back on it and you say, how did I ever get here? But thank you, I'm there. So I encourage all of you to consider this. Every noble life leaves its fiber interwoven forever in the work of the world.